Welcome into another edition of Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm your host, Rick Couri, and boy, do we have some fun for you. We're going to talk a lot about ladies and women's sports today. The FUEL program, Females Understanding, Educating, and Leading. You're going to find out what it means and how it's being implemented in and around the district. We're also going to talk to some of the folks who are going to be here who are helping donate things for those people, like Cleats for Kids and some of our big sporting goods stores. It's all coming up with some great guests, some great history, and some things to learn right here on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. I am your host, Rick Couri, and we have got a really fun show going here, including a lot of stuff about good things happening in our communities. One of those is Stacy McDaniel from Cleats for Kids. First of all, that seems pretty explanatory, Cleats for Kids. Thank you for being here. Welcome, but go ahead and explain it anyway.
Yeah, Cleats for Kids is an Oklahoma nonprofit, and don't let the name fool you that we provide sporting goods of all different types. So all different types of sporting goods for every sport and every size. And we serve kids free of charge. So kids that need sporting goods, because obviously these days those things are so expensive, can come to Cleats for Kids. We have a locker room that's available and they can shop, and it's free of charge to those kids. We work with the schools and coaches and leagues also to get the gear to the kids. So it's just it's a wonderful nonprofit mission just to get kids active.
I can imagine. And you know, a lot of parents initially, if you've not had them involved before your kids, you might be surprised by some of the things that you do have to purchase. And then, as you said, when you start looking at some price tags, you can get a little sticker shock.
Yeah, cost has become such a barrier to access for kids. And, you know, even just to play soccer shin guards and a pair of soccer cleats can run you upwards of over $100 very easily. And so, you know, that's where we step in to just help remove that barrier. And the reason we're even able to do that is because we just love seeing kids giving back to kids in the neighborhood. And so all of us have had kids outgrowing their things or doing some sports sampling, and they try a sport that they don't like, and they can recycle their gear with Cleats for Kids and help a kid right here in our backyard.
And you're probably thinking to yourself, how can I get this stuff out of my closet? Well, we'll get to that in a second. Let's go back to how it started. And what's kind of the genesis of the thing?
Our kids were playing basketball down at a Parks and Rec center in Oklahoma City at the time, and we just were noticing kids that were wanting to play but weren't playing. And we talked to the folks that ran the center, and they're like, oh, we just had a mom, if she were able to go get shoes so that the kids could play, she said, I can't buy groceries. And it was such a revelation, and we were like, we've got this stuff sitting in our garages that our kids have outgrown. How do we just bridge this gap? And it started out of our garage. And the first collection drive we had was our daughter's birthday party when she was in third grade. And we moved into a house, and that year we gave out like 2,400 items. Fast forward 14 years, we have now become a statewide organization. We helped kids in all 77 counties and provided about 66,000 sporting goods items to about over 60,000 kids.
So we're talking about 60,000 kids who might not have been able to, you know, maybe have scrounged something from a cousin, but they're able to actually go out and actually play now.
Exactly. It's all about getting kids active. So reducing those barriers to access so that kids can play sports, but also just participate in PE. Several years back, we had gone to visit a PE class to talk about what they were doing for youth sports. And I asked the teacher, I said, please tell me how these kids aren't in trouble. And she's like, oh no, it's indoor PE and they don't have tennis shoes. So they didn't get to play. And it was at that moment we started really focusing on just how do we get kids active? How do we get kids engaged in free play, you know, just even learning those skills that you learn out on the playground, conflict resolution, how to do teamwork, you know, how to be a leader. And all of those lessons we know translate to the classroom and beyond. So our mission runs the gamut of just getting kids active all the way up to really making a difference to those kids who maybe just need a little bit of boost, and we see those kids then going on and getting athletic scholarships.
Oh, that's tremendous. Can you describe the look on a kid's face when they get that piece of equipment?
It is the most heartfelt, moving moment I can tell you I have had. One of the very first distributions we did was a soccer distribution, and a kid wasn't going to get to play because he didn't have shin guards and cleats, and he was in tears. And the look on the kid's face, he was 6 years old, when he figured out that I'm able to get a pair of cleats, and he started crying harder. His hand went over his mouth and he said, "When do I have to give these back?" And his mom said, "This is the very first pair of shoes he's ever gotten. Everything else has been hand-me-downs." And so for them to know, like, somebody cares enough about me that they're giving me a pair of shoes, it literally just transforms a kid. And we've got kids coming into our locker room that don't make eye contact. You know, they're shy, and they come in, and after just having that experience of one-on-one in our locker room and getting to pick out what they need to participate, whether it's a bat, a ball, a glove, they literally stand up, walk taller, they're engaging, they're talking to us. And it's about that self-confidence that comes about, and just that true new sense of hope that these kids feel just by knowing that somebody cares about me.
That's fantastic. We only have about 30 seconds left, but how do people donate?
Just reach out on our website. There are all different types of donation locations that they can donate directly at, whether it's at our locker room here in Tulsa or different gyms. You also can have collection drives. So reach out to programs@cleatsforkids.org. And just let us know. We'll get in contact with you, and we provide all the boxes, all the posters, and have collection drives at your school, churches, businesses, anything like that. That's how we stock our shelves and help the kids.
That's fantastic work. Stacy, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Stacy McDaniel with Cleats for Kids, back with more next right here on Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against a tough competitor, plastic.
Don't trust those numbers on the bottom. You have to stick to what you know. Only bottles and jugs found in the kitchen, bath, or laundry. They're quick to pick up. And empty those bottles before sinking that shot.
Always empty your bottles before recycling. Score big by recycling your plastic bottles and jugs. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
I love Will Rogers Athletics because it helped me physically, spiritually, and emotionally through all the journeys I've been through at that school. All of the support staff helped me a lot, and it's just an amazing school.
Athletics at Will Rogers changed my life because it became a second family. With the support of my coaches and teammates, it's helped me gain confidence, work as a team, and will help me in college and in life.
We're back for more Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm your host, Rick Couri, and you've probably seen the ads. You might even seen the place, and if you're inside, you get to see the really cool, big, gigantic Ferris, whatever that thing is, inside at Woodland Hills, and it's Scheels Sporting Goods. Alexis Stallard is here with us, and she is with Scheels. Merry-go-round, right?
Ferris wheel.
Ferris wheel. All right.
It was a good effort.
A Ferris go round and merry go wheel.
You know what? We can maybe change it.
Yeah. Someone's got to work on that for you guys.
Yeah.
When Scheels came into the city, and if you haven't been in yet, by the way, you really must go. I mean, it was just literally everywhere. Tell me about kind of the mission statement for the store.
Yeah. Whenever we enter into a new market, we want to make sure that we know that city and community knows that we're there for them. A lot of us move from different areas, but we also hire so much locally. We have about 500 employees, and only about 60 to 70 of us are transfers from other stores, just to help bring the mission of Scheels with us. But one of our core pillars of our business model and our company is that we do good in our communities. And so we try to do that from all aspects, whether it's sports, as a sporting goods retailer, but we also do family and children's services and nonprofit support and all that kind of stuff.
And that's kind of one of your specialties. So when you go into a community, well, first of all, where'd you come from?
I originally came from Wichita, Kansas.
Well, you got a better deal down here.
Yeah, sports are definitely a big deal down here.
They are, and the weather's a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
When you first get into a community, what's the first thing you start to delve into?
I just started to delve into what seems to be, we first delved into the high schools around here. That was the big goal. And we learned a lot through there, through big organizations like Indian Nations and things like that. And then when I first came in, started looking for all of the smaller organizations and organizations like Cleats for Kids and other nonprofits like the Common Good, where part of their deal is sports, but they also do so much more, and just seeing in what ways we can make the biggest impact.
What is normal when you go into a community? I mean, this is obviously a football area, but we're talking about everything. Everybody does everything in Oklahoma.
Yes.
Fishing is big here. Hunting is big here. And I know you guys do all that kind of stuff. So are you looking for the biggest sports? Are you looking for the biggest need?
Honestly, it's all that kind of stuff. Biggest need is where I like to look, where we can make the biggest impact. But yeah, we also look for the biggest sports because we know that matters to a community.
Oh, yeah.
So football, we spent a lot of Friday night lights out there with all the different high schools, and it was a blast because you get to see what matters to these communities and see these families come together. But it's also so fun to see Oklahoma. One of my biggest observations is if Oklahoma has it, they commit full stop. They love it no matter what, and you can't say that for everywhere, even Wichita, you can't say that. So I think that's something that's so admirable and unique to Oklahoma and Tulsa.
So what kind of needs did you find when you first got here?
I think the biggest need was equipment. So many kids, especially in this Tulsa metro area, don't have what they need to get started in sports, and I think sports is so important to kids and their growth and development as a person in general. And so we found a lot of equipment needs, and honestly, just that initial barrier of costs and fees to get involved in sports nowadays is so incredibly high. So those were the two biggest areas that we've been able to help with, setting up scholarship programs for different sports organizations.
And how do you help at that point? What do you guys go do?
We either do donations of product, donations with gift cards so that teams can purchase what they need, not necessarily what we deem that they need.
Sure.
We also just help out with monetary sponsorship. Like I said, we helped out with Owasso Youth Baseball to help establish a scholarship program for some kids there, and left it up to that organization and their leadership on how they wanted to handle it. We just wanted to help. So.
Once people find out you're doing it, do you get kind of inundated by that?
A bit, honestly. It's always a whirlwind right when we open. So it was expected, but makes my day go by fast. So
Yes.
we enjoy it, and we enjoy getting connected with so many people in our community.
How would you, for people who haven't seen the inside of your store, how would you describe it?
Ooh, something for everyone. It is an experience. You got to book a couple of hours for yourself if you haven't been in before. And it's really something for everyone. You don't have to be somebody who's outdoorsy and sportsy. We've got all different kinds of stuff on all different areas of the store.
I was shocked. I was not shocked. I was surprised. I'm walking along with my daughter, and hey, there's a video game room for kids.
Yes, yes.
There are things you just don't expect. I mean, first of all, obviously, you're not going to expect the big gigantic ride. But then when you get inside and you start to see other things, what other things surprise people in there?
A lot of what surprises people is we have a whole home decor section where we sell custom furniture. So that's a big shock for some people, but starting as a home and hardware store back in 1902, it's actually closer to our roots than anything else that we do, really. So that's one of the tidbits I always love to share with people is our home decor section.
Oh, I can imagine that's the case. What's your favorite part of the store, though?
Ooh, that's a really, really big question. I think I'd probably stay away from our women's accessories just because it's always new and I'm always wanting to buy things. So I love that area.
That's fantastic. Thank you for being here. Thank you for and we're glad you're here from Wichita. Again, you got the better part of that deal. And you got to go in and you got to ride that thing. Alexis, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, back with more coming up next here on Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is looking to defend their title against aluminum and steel cans.
Bob, most people think of the kitchen for this opponent, but aluminum and steel cans, like empty shaving cream cans, also play extremely well in bathrooms all over Tulsa. That was nothing but bin, Bob.
Wow, right into the bin. Team Johnson has buttoned up another win. Score big by recycling your aluminum and steel cans. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hales means that you have to be consistent, outgoing, and be dedicated because students at Nathan Hale look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hale has taught me to be confident
and disciplined, and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
Welcome back in again for Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm your host, Rick Couri, and we're going to talk about all things involved in the community and kids and sports like we always do. This time, Abby Jones is with us here from Dick's House of Sports, right?
Yes, House of Sports.
And that's changed.
It has.
So why did it change?
So Dick's House of Sport is kind of our newer retail shopping experience. So different from our DSG stores. So we remodeled. So we're now over 100,000 square feet. We have a rock wall, 5-lane rock wall. We have a HitTrax hitting cage that can do baseball, softball, soccer, lacrosse, and hockey. And then we have a golf performance center. So we have 3 TrackMan golf bays. So you can come inside when it's raining, cold, all the things. And we have an in-house PGA Pro. So it's just been really exciting. We have a much larger product line than just normal DSG stores. So there's a lot to offer. And then we do a lot more community-based work as well. So
yeah, you guys kind of took over a whole big old space over there, 71st
Absolutely.
and Mingo. There was a space open, and then you just kept kind of expanding and expanding and expanding. You kind of own that one action, don't you?
Yes, we did. We pretty much, it looks like the whole entire shopping center on one side now. So really, really big store, but huge. It's beautiful. If people haven't been in, it's just really fun. It's a really fun atmosphere of a store.
So what is it how are you involved in youth sports around Oklahoma?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do something every year. It's called our Sports Matter Grant. So we give money out to different places in community in need. This year we're working with the Tulsa Dream Center. Super excited to be working with them. We're working with Cleats for Kids. Really excited. Direct tie-in right there. And then Tulsa Parks and Rec as well. So we're really excited to touch these kids that need ways to stay in sports. Our big thing is we think that sports change lives. And so staying in sports gives, in my personal opinion, is a great way to be a productive human being. And we just want to give kids that outlet, right? Like there's a lot of kids around Tulsa that really want to do that, but might not have the opportunity to. And so I think we have a duty to this community. We're really excited that we got chosen. There's still not very many House of Sports. We're rapidly growing, but the fact that we're in the Tulsa community says a lot to me. So we want to show up for this community, and we've started doing that in that way.
And you mentioned, of course, there's the scholarship program, if you will. Are there other ways you guys are involved or looking to be?
Yeah, so absolutely. So a lot of my position too, we do a lot of unique events in store that a lot of retail spaces don't do. We've done self-defense class for runners that's free. We do fun things with our golf pro. So like we want to reach the community in like very unique ways. So like we love people will come reach out to us and say, hey, we want to do team bonding here for our team. Hey, can we do a self-defense class? All these different types of things. We're absolutely willing to host it in our space. We have a big, beautiful store, and that's what we want to use it for.
Well, as a matter of fact, you mentioned sports changes lives, and you know personally, don't you, because of your background. So tell people what you did.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had the honor of playing softball at TU from 2020 to 2024. I got to take my 5th year for COVID, but I played shortstop and second base, and it was just so amazing. TU gave me so much, and I'm actually not originally from here, but from being here at TU for 5 years, I've kind of adopted this as a second home, and so like this community really means a lot to me. So to immediately get to move into a role right past TU to get to give back to youth sports has just been really, really meaningful for me.
So where were you recruited from?
I was recruited from Houston. I'm originally from the Woodlands, Texas. It's right outside of Houston, so that's my hometown, but that's where I came from, and it's been really cool. I've really enjoyed Oklahoma. Everyone's been super welcoming and nice. It's a really cool community.
And if you might not believe it, but if you've not been to Houston a lot, there's a little less humidity here, believe it or not.
Yes, there is. There is a lot less humidity, a lot less.
Sometimes in Houston, it really does feel like you have to slice the air to breathe it.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot more wind flow here. So.
Even though sometimes it's really hot wind.
Yes.
All right, so you mentioned you played. All right, can you describe the difference sports made in your life as a young person?
Absolutely. I mean, that just, it impacted my academic career as well, right? Like it made me want to be a winner in everything I did. I love to compete. I learned really, really early that was something I love to do is do that. But more importantly than anything, it taught me how to deal with adversity. I think that's the biggest thing sports has done for me. I went through a couple really big injuries in my career that I had to overcome, but also like pressure on the field, time management, all of that has really directly impacted what I do on a daily basis, like in a professional career. And so I think everything that I learned in sports has been directly applicable for me.
And when someone wants to apply for those scholarships or someone wants to help by giving some things, what do they do?
Absolutely. So we actually have anyone that wants to reach out. So I'm personally always in the store, but we also, any of our teammates know if you want to walk in, if you need donation for anything, we'll give you back a QR code and there's a place to apply for all different types of grants. You just kind of talk about what your needs are. We are not going to tell you how to use it, but it's just like that we can pull up all of how the Tulsa community needs us. We'll give you that funding, but also it lets me go in and look and where are these big areas of needs? What are these organizations? Is there a common theme? How do we maybe pull these people together as well?
You know, when you think about a sporting goods store, a large sporting goods store like yours, you think you move into a community and you just put the stuff in there and here we go. You guys do research on exactly what communities like, or do you need more of this or less of this? This is a big hunting fishing area. How do you go about that?
Yeah, so absolutely. I mean, we know here that we have a huge fishing area, so our fishing line is a lot broader than what is typically, but our main goal in house sport right now is youth sports and how to impact that. Our buying team is phenomenal and they do a ton of research on what product to get in there and what's best going to help Tulsa. I don't have a ton of knowledge on that, to be truthful for you, but they do. Our product line is amazing and we get a lot of feedback on that. But more importantly, like, we're just here for mostly my position. How do we further impact youth sports and keeping kids in sports?
And if somebody wants to be involved, they can just get a hold of you or just come in the
Absolutely.
store, right?
Come in store, get a hold of me, get a hold of anyone. They'll know exactly where to point you to get you the help.
Abby Jones, Dick's Sporting Goods. That's Dick's House of Sport.
Dick's House of Sport.
Thank you very
Yes,
much for
thank
joining
you.
us. Back soon here in Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against one tough competitor, glass.
That's right. Only glass bottles and jars are recyclable. Don't even think about sinking a drink in glass or mirror. Always good to empty your glass bottles and jars before recycling.
These two get it, emptying both bottles from far out, and they remove the lids. Score big by recycling your glass bottles and jars. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Booker T. Washington has taught me to carry myself with class as an athlete, student, and friend, and to have responsibility on and off the field, and that it's the littlest things that will make all the difference in the long run.
Being an athlete at Memorial High School has taught me to be a better person, because when you play sports, attitude is the main thing you have to deal with, not just your own, but other people's. It also teaches you to be the bigger person.
There's more of Inside Tulsa Athletics right here. I'm your host, Rick Couri, and now I'm told this is the in-house superstar, because I'll pull back the curtain a little. We do this show at Webster High School, and this is Kay Holland. She's here working with Fuel and several ladies sports. They said you're the in-house superstar. Is that just the title you go by? Is that on your business card?
Not quite.
Tell me what you do for Webster.
Well, I teach literacy skills and introduction to coding, and I'm also the middle school volleyball coach and the first unified Special Olympics coach as
That'll
well.
be fun. We'll get into that too.
Okay.
I have to ask you about coding real quick. I know we're about Inside Tulsa Athletics, but that is such an explosion of things. How are the classes for that?
Oh, it's great. We have a wonderful time. We're playing with robots right now and having a great time coding and making our robots smile and do a lot of fun stuff.
That is fun. Oh, making them smile. I know when my daughter was a freshman at Texas A&M, she hated that robot. It dominated her life, but it was fun toward the end. All right, let's go back first of all to Fuel. I know you're involved in Fuel here. Mm-hmm. How have you seen it affect Webster?
Oh, it's great. The Fuel program is, I think, one of the best things that we're doing, because the big thing people don't understand is that girls in sports, they drop out. Our girls, we see them drop out after middle school, and about 50% actually drop out. And so realizing that, I believe this, the females understanding, educating, and leading, or Fuel, these summits showing our girls and giving them a chance to see the future in sports and helping them to see careers in sports gives them an opportunity to see the benefits. And we took about 40 last year, we took 10 this year, and none of them were the same. Very important. because all of the girls last year wanted to go again because they had such a wonderful time, learned so much. And the 10 that we took this year were from all different sports. And they had an amazing time, didn't know about careers in sports. And so now it's changed what they want to do. And so they've learned and grown as a result. And I have several in my classes. They've been looking up different careers. And it's given them a focus. And so the power behind what they've learned is so dynamic. And I've loved to watch them grow. And so that's been fun. I can't wait for the next one and see more of our young ladies grow. It's also encouraged them to want to go. I've heard, when can I be in softball? Are you going to start softball? And I said, sure, I played 22 years. I'll start a softball team. We just have to get the money and let's start and do it now. So I'm ready. So,
what kind of things do they learn when they're at the Fuel program?
They learn, we did a self-defense program, and unbeknownst to me, one of my girls was a wrestler, and she took down the self-defense teacher. But the smile on her face when he hugged her and said, you did everything right, and she goes, I was a little worried. And she was on air when he said, you did the right thing and you did exactly what I taught you. And they're prepared for the future, and they're prepared. They want to get into wrestling now. So they're all ready to go.
We know that girls wrestling's exploding.
Exactly. And she's fantastic. And so she wants to join the wrestling team now. So I'm excited about everything they've learned.
That is really fantastic. What about your 22 years? I'm interested. Where'd you play?
Well, I played for Clinton Junior High at the time. I'm old. And then I played after college. But I bowled for Oklahoma State University. So a lot of the same skill set. So...
that's fantastic. What a great career. Then you can give them experience in what that can lead to, can't you?
Yes, I can. And I had my way paid. You know, I did a lot of stuff in college with sports, so I know exactly what it can give you.
When you've got a young lady who you can kind of feel wants to be involved, but they've just that reticence to take that step, how do you approach it?
Well, I took a group of girls that had never played volleyball before, and we worked all summer, and we went... we took first place in the season. We didn't make it in the playoffs, but we learned, and I worked with them, and it's amazing. Desire plus determination equals success.
Yes.
And that's all it takes.
And success doesn't always mean winning.
That's right.
Sometimes it just means doing your best. It means learning something. It means knowing how to do better next time. But I think sometimes we get the two confused, don't we?
Right. But it also transcends into their academics.
Yes, ma'am.
And to in attendance. Because, you know, to play sports, you have to have the grades. You have to be in school. And that also transcends into life.
And those life skills it's just invaluable to see them kind of light up and go that way.
And it's changed their life as well.
Well, I think you have too.
Well, thank you.
Kay Holland from Webster, thank you very much for being here, in-house superstar. Coming back right next here on Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Hey, Tulsa, we have a crushing recycle play of the day for you. Team Johnson versus paper and cardboard.
They're starting off slow today, probably trying to figure out what to do with those styrofoam plates, since they're not recyclable.
There's the big play we were waiting for. Boom! Completely empty cardboard boxes dunked in the cart. Score big by recycling your cardboard and paper. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You know you can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, you know your team will always be there for you.
Hey, Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against a tough competitor, plastic.
Don't trust those numbers on the bottom. You have to stick to what you know. Only bottles and jugs found in the kitchen, bath, or laundry. They're quick to pick up and empty those bottles before sinking that shot.
Always empty your bottles before recycling. Score big by recycling your plastic bottles and jugs. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
We're here with more of Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm your host, Rick Couri, and we're going to talk more about fuel, and we'll explain what that is here with Amy Jahn from Rogers. Thank you very much, Amy, for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And you coach a couple of things at Rogers. Tell me what.
Yes, I do middle school and high school softball, and this year I helped with the girls' flag football.
Oh, you got to tell me how that
It
went.
was so much fun. I mean, it was brand new for all of us, so we were all learning as we went, but it's I can definitely see how it's going to take off in Oklahoma.
So you had a lot of people out initially?
Yes and no. I mean, just the unfamiliarity of not knowing the rules or not knowing.
Right.
They're like, oh, I've never played. But that's what kind of made it enticing for a lot of kids, because they're like, well, we were able to say, well, nobody's played, so. But
jump in and go.
Yes.
All right, explain what FUEL is.
So FUEL stands for Females Understanding, Educating, and Leading. Essentially, it's designed to help promote girls in sports in leadership positions and just see how that correlates to real life, as well as maintaining involvement in sports. If you're looking at the statistics of girls, girls are less likely to be involved in sports than boys their age. They are 50% more likely to quit by the time they graduate. And those are scary statistics, especially when you're looking at graduation rates. I mean, you jump from some 20% when a student is involved in an extracurricular activity, their likelihood of graduating jumps by 20% if they're involved. So, I mean, we want to find ways and to keep them involved and understand what is causing them to quit, or what keeps them out of the game, and give them a safe place to build a strong mentality around learning leadership, learning that the things that we go through is normal, and how we can keep them engaged in sports.
Yeah, and there are times when females themselves, and it depends on their background, obviously, young ladies, may not feel like they should lead. And you have to get them out of that into the, hey, it's okay to step forward. How do you start that process?
Well, especially with our event that we went to recently, we let them hear from a lot of girls in similar backgrounds that have played at a high level or have just played at a high school level, explaining their story. And it's just like anybody. We all go through struggles, and it's normal to struggle. What did I do to overcome that? And so it's a great learning opportunity for them to see that they are not alone in the struggle, and just kind of giving them the tools to figure out how to be resilient.
It's got to be different from everybody, but when you get, and it's not just ladies, it can be young men too, who just don't have the confidence to step forward and say, no, I think we should do it this way, or I think I should do this way. That's individual, very individual, just like coaching. How do you personally kind of get inside each person like that?
Well, we have to understand that everybody has their own gift, and what you bring to the table is really how are you utilizing that gift, how are you sharpening that gift, and anybody can be a leader, but you get to choose how you lead.
Yes.
So,
yeah, because you don't have to be loud to be a leader. Some people believe it's yelling or being in somebody's face. It's not that. It's so much more, isn't it?
It's creating those relationships, and if you're creating the culture for them to be able to have those relationships, then they're able to see, hey, I'm the worker guy, or I'm the vocal leader, or maybe I'm the encourager. But learning that, again, leadership looks different on everyone in every different setting is huge for them.
I can just imagine the number of people you could use as speakers, the Patty Gassos of
the
world, the old Sherry Coles of the world, who can come in and tell these young ladies, you have these chances. Do you use those kind of things?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been lucky enough to coach some athletes that have gone on to play at high levels, and I've been lucky enough to coach some kids that, they used athletics to make them a better mom or a better employee, or, just giving them the opportunity to see that it all doesn't have to correlate to a professional level sport, that sports are supposed to teach us more than just athletics.
And at times it can help pay for college.
Yeah, that's huge right now.
Yeah, mom and dad, you hear that? You know, you got them involved, right?
Yes.
If someone is, you know, especially young ladies or anybody again, but young ladies, since we're talking about fuel, who are just a little timid, but they want to take that next step. If you're talking now to a parent who's trying to get them to do that, what would you say?
I would say encourage them in the things that you can tell that sparks joy. Because when you encourage them to explore those areas and take those risks, they're going to climb and explore areas that give them the platforms and the opportunities to do so.
How'd softball do?
You know, it was a little bit rough, but it was, for us, it's about building relationships and having a family that you can fall back on. And that's the thing I take the most pride in with my kids, is they always reflect that this is my family, even after I graduate.
Be proud of being a Lady Roper.
Yes, sir.
Thanks so much for being here, Jan. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, Rick Couri right here, and this is Inside Tulsa Athletics, and we'll be back with more coming up.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against one tough competitor, glass.
That's right, only glass bottles and jars are recyclable. Don't even think about sinking a drink in glass or mirror. Always good to empty your glass bottles and jars before recycling.
These two get it, emptying both bottles from far out, and they remove the lids. Score big by recycling your glass bottles and jars. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
I feel like athletics is so important at Tulsa Central because it's an outlet for some of our kids there. They get a better opportunity to basically give back to our community.
At McLean, the sports is what mainly drives a bunch of the students to come to school every single day and work hard because they want to be able to come from the classroom to the field or the court and show at what they're good at.
Welcome back to more Inside Tulsa Athletics. I am Rick Couri, your host, and you'll recognize this young lady, Lauren Merrill from Edison High School. Nice logo, by the way.
Thank you.
Love the logo. So tell me what's up at Edison these days.
Oh, we're getting ready for postseason for the spring sports and kind of starting to prepare for tryouts for everything next year. So we're excited.
And you're doing all that at the same time the end of the year comes up. I know this because, again, I mentioned we taped this at Edison, and there's testing going on, and you have to massage and manage all of that. How in the world do you guys get it in a 24-hour day?
A lot of communication and a lot of planning.
I would imagine that'd be the case. Now, I know one of the things you wanted to talk about here today is the FUEL program, and that's females understanding, educating, and leading. But not everybody understands what you're really trying to accomplish with the program. At Edison, what are you seeing when it comes to results, and how are you promoting the program?
So we reached out to the coaches, and they nominated some athletes to come along to the conference. That was a couple weeks ago. And we took the groups, and afterwards we talked about how we can grow sports at Edison, specifically for our female athletes, and things we can do to make them feel a little bit more supported.
And a little bit more, I mean, sometimes there's just that hesitation to take the first step. But you might see that kind of look in the eyes. Do you approach girls in the hall? Do you try to have conferences? How do you recruit, if you will?
Yeah, so for volleyball specifically, I do open gyms so that kids can come try it out with no pressure. So we set up the nets and they get to play some volleyball. They get to know us as coaches and know the teammates that are already on the team, and try it out in a low pressure situation. That way the first time they're touching the ball isn't at tryouts. But we love, word of mouth is a great way to tell girls about your team. So we really encourage our girls to reach out to other kids and just try to make sure that they know that we're excited to represent Edison and happy to keep growing.
And you also, I would imagine, I don't know this to be the case, for some young women, it's like, well, I don't know, sports, should I really get into that? You have to let them know, I would think, that it's okay. I mean, you see this in the Olympics, you see it professionally now. The WNBA has got to help, I would think, them watching women perform at a really high level.
Absolutely. We talk about how when you have a chance to watch those upper level events, it can help make you better because you're seeing it from a different perspective and you're seeing some of the best in their field doing it. I think social media has been good in this sense. It's not my favorite thing, but it helps because it connects them with some of those high level athletes and makes them feel a little more like a person rather than a celebrity.
Have you seen them come in for it and mention that to you, or have you heard them mention that to you?
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes we have homework where I'm like, I just want you to go watch someone and pick a player out that you relate to and make some observations on what they did.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
You mentioned, when you get them into an open gym, and I find that really interesting because, as you said, kind of introduce and know you guys as coaches. We all know that you have to coach each person individually, yet you still have to coach a team. And you have to find out how that person responds. When they're first in there, I would imagine, and I'm just guessing, that you got to be a little gentle to make sure that as they get started, they can kind of accept that coaching, if you will, because not everybody understands what it's like to be told you're not doing it right, but that's not a criticism, it's teaching.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's really important to lead with love. So every time that we're with the kids, even as we do get to know them and maybe get a little more critical, we make sure that they know we care about them as people first and then athletes.
And right, it's not about you, it's about that thing, and this is how you do that thing.
Absolutely.
And then you see maybe that response. Have you seen a lot of kids do that and then kind of come along?
Yeah, absolutely.
When they do, what differences do you see in them personally?
I think that when they buy in, they really, really tend to play better because it takes out some of the confidence issues.
Right, and that can help them in the classroom and other places too, right? So when you're talking about the Fuel program, I would think one of the things you want to do is have those who have been there kind of spread the word. Do you encourage them, or do they do it on their own?
Yes, and we talk about how when they're a part of the program and get to go they're supposed to bring it back to Edison and spread it to the different sports. So we had almost every sport represented, and we talked about how important it was to take what we learned there and give it to the other students.
And they're seeing it for the first time. Take me inside your first time at a Fuel Summit. What did you learn?
I think that it was really great just as an adult because I would have loved to see something like that when I was a player. And I think that as a coach, I can apply things that maybe I was lacking when I was a high school athlete. So just taking some of those things and realizing that it relates to not just me, but also to other athletes and making sure I can make up for those things.
When you do that, you're taking someone to a thing like that on the way back. It's kind of like coming back from a game. You hear those in the back. What kind of comments were you hearing?
A lot of girls said that it was so nice that they felt like they were heard and seen by other people because, like I said, it wasn't just them. They didn't feel alone in their thoughts, maybe in lack of confidence and things like that.
And it makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So at the end of the year, what are your numbers been like at Edison this year? What's been the overall year experience for you?
It's been really, really big. We always have between high school and middle school over 100 girls try out. And the biggest thing is flag football this year.
Yeah.
I'm coaching that as well. And we have had a record number of kids want to come out, especially after we had success last year.
Does everybody want to play quarterback?
Yes.
Lauren, Merrill, thank you so much for coming over. Tell your husband Grant hello for me.
I will. Thank you.
Back with more Inside Tulsa Athletics next.
Hey, Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is looking to defend their title against aluminum and steel cans.
Bob, most people think of the kitchen for this opponent, but aluminum and steel cans, like empty shaving cream cans, also play extremely well in bathrooms all over Tulsa. That was nothing but bin, Bob.
Wow, right into the bin. Team Johnson has buttoned up another win. Score big by recycling your aluminum and steel cans. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hales means that you have to be consistent, outgoing, and be dedicated because students at Nathan Hale look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hale has taught me to be confident and disciplined and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
Welcome back for more Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm your host, Rick Couri, and you will recognize this face, Emily Stone, District Assistant Athletic Director. I was just asking Emily before we start, there's a deputy, there's a district assistant, there's all these titles.
Yeah.
Does that basically just mean that you're all in one office and you work?
We are all in one office, and we do work occasionally. We like to have fun, though. You know, we like to have fun and talk a little bit. But yeah, we do have 4 people in our office.
Mick Wilson, he's the executive director of athletics. And then there goes Crystal Markwart, she's our deputy. And then myself and Jason Selman as the assistant, district assistant athletic
So
director.
what's taking most of your time right now?
Most of my time right now is just uniform orders for this next year. I'm over cheer and pom, and so we have had the privilege to be able to buy new cheer and pom uniforms for our schools, middle and high school. And so that has been taking a majority of my time, having to get those orders in, get the sizes, look through designs, and now all the orders are coming in. And so our basement right now is boxed to the ceiling, and I mean no exaggeration. It is full of boxes, and having to go through those have been quite the process, and I haven't even made it through half of them.
Now that sounds simple. It sounds like somebody sends you a size or X number of sizes and you go out and do that. But you just mentioned something I'd not even thought of. You're talking about designs and things like that. And having a wife who, my wife was an athletic trainer and she was in gymnastics when she was in high school and volleyball and different things. I have heard many things about women's uniforms.
Yep.
Where did you start when it came to those kinds of things?
Well, I'm no cheer expert. I was a softball player, basketball player.
But you knew what you liked.
But I knew what I like, and as a female, you know what girls are going to like and enjoy putting on, right? And so my first step was calling varsity. They are the biggest brand in cheer and pom, in my opinion, and so I was able to connect with them and get some expert advice. And so they know that I'm no expert in this area, but they have taught me so much about cheer and pom and what uniforms are going to be the best and what aren't going to be the best, because material matters, the look matters. You are the face of spirit at games. We need to look good, and we need to be able to represent our schools well. And so the start was calling varsity and just asking them, hey, what have we done in the past? What's going to look good, but also what's in our budget. Sure. And so it was a lot of conversations. It took about, I want to say, 3.5 months to land on something and get those uniforms ordered.
And it's not just the look. It also has to be fit and functional and comfortable, because that's the thing I hear most at home when I see something.
Absolutely.
My wife will say that wouldn't work, or that kind of thing. Yeah. So did you go to coaches to ask that, or did you just simply stick with varsity?
We just simply stuck with varsity. We wanted to keep it within our office just because that was probably the easiest route to go, because we have 19 schools we're covering. However, we did take what we've done in years past, and we know what the coaches have liked. And so from that information alone, we kind of knew what we were handling and what we were looking for. But like you said, looks matter. And especially when we are dealing with young females, we want them to feel comfortable, and we want them to feel confident in what they're putting on for their school to cheer on their team.
And the materials have changed so much from the old days of polyester to performance materials and those kinds of things. Every time you go look at something new, it's changed, hasn't it?
It sure has. There are so many different types of fabrics out there, and we don't want our girls in polyester. We want them to be in something that's breathable, because some days are going to be hot, some days are going to be cold, right? We want something that's going to fit both. And so we ordered a type of material that's going to be able to flex with them whenever they're doing different cheers and chants and flips, right? It needs to be comfortable for them to do those things. And so that's where we landed, and the uniforms look great.
My goodness, how many have you had to order?
You know, there's about 30 uniforms per school. So do the math there. We have 19 schools we ordered for, and we have cheer and pom.
So you're looking at almost 600 uniforms.
Yeah.
I mean, just quick, that's Oklahoma math.
It is. I'm no math expert, so you're better than I.
It's 570 on the nose, but that's close to 600 there if you do that in your head. Yeah. And you've got to go find sizes. Did those just come from coaches? How'd you do that?
So varsity does a thing where they go in and they size each student athlete for free, no cost to us, which is awesome. But because we have used varsity in the past, we went ahead and just used the sizes that we've already had. And so it ranges from small to large, right? And so we ordered it in that way just because of the way varsity does sizing, and so we were able just to take what we did from years past. Yeah.
And that's just cheer.
That is just cheer.
There's got to be other stuff out there. You mentioned pom and all those other things. Are they all pretty similar when you get to that kind of thing?
They're all pretty similar. It definitely depends on the coach and their preference. Some coaches in pom like the full dress look, and some like just the shell top and the skirt, right? So It's really preference. We ordered just the top and the skirt. That way everyone looks the same. It's a pretty unified look across our district.
I would imagine that somewhere you've kept copious notes to know that if you do this again, you're kind of ahead of the game.
You have no idea how many pages in my notebook I have just about cheer and pom, and the amount of phone calls I've made to varsity is unmatched to anything, because I have to call for questions. I have no idea what I'm doing sometimes. But
Speed dial.
Speed dial, that's it.
Emily Stone, thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Back with more next year in Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Hey, Tulsa, we have a crushing recycle play of the day for you. Team Johnson versus paper and cardboard.
They're starting off slow today, probably trying to figure out what to do with those styrofoam plates, since they're not recyclable.
There's the big play we were waiting for. Boom! Completely empty cardboard boxes dunked in the cart. Score big by recycling your cardboard and paper. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
I love Will Rogers Athletics because it helped me physically, spiritually, and emotionally through all the journeys I've been through at that school. All of the support staff helped me a lot, and it's just an amazing school.
Athletics at Will Rogers changed my life because it became a second family. With the support of my coaches and teammates, it's helped me gain confidence, work as a team, and will help me in college and in life.
More Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm Rick Couri, and Emily Stone remains visiting with us, District Assistant AD. You know, we talked a lot about cheer uniforms and those kinds of things. Many things have to get ordered. I understand all that, but that's not the only thing. We're coming up toward the end of the year, so if you take that off your plate, what kind of end of the year stuff do you guys generally do?
Absolutely. It's the start of scheduling camps for different sports, and right now we're working on getting camps scheduled for our flag football girls.
You know, and we've already had some flag football talk. That has got to be just encouraging to see that response.
Absolutely. Our biggest thing in our district is we want as many people to participate in sports, and just adding this other layer to what we already have, and another opportunity for our girls to be able to participate in, and not to mention they can get scholarships for flag football, which is awesome. If I had known that when I was in high school and that was a thing, I would have done that in a heartbeat. But we are so excited to see where this goes and the continued growth, because Donald Driver has been such an influence in all of this, and being able to provide this for our girls and to start this in Tulsa has just been awesome to watch.
A retired Green Bay Packers player, of course, people would know Donald, and he's got such a good heart.
Absolutely. He is huge on female sports, and getting to impact these young ladies in that way and just show them there's more out there for them, and not just going to school to get a job. You can go to school and play sports to go get a job, or you can go to school to play sports and play professionally.
Sure. Yeah.
So
you know, and for people who might not understand, there are so many different things you can do. I had a high school friend, this is a long time ago, that got a scholarship that was half rodeo, half skiing.
Wow.
And I mean, and he went to college on that. It was north of Oklahoma, obviously, but went to college on that and just did a fantastic job. You have to understand there are a lot of a lot of opportunities you might not know about.
There are so many opportunities out there. I know for me, I went into college and I went in thinking I was going to do one thing, but other doors opened up and other interests come up when you're at college that you may have not realized you had. And then you learn that there's so many different avenues out there.
You know, when you talk about the participation in flag football, you get that initial year. And there are going to be some people who are like a little reticent to get that first start. Hopefully the young ladies involved liked it so much they came back and started encouraging others. What are you hearing from coaches about that?
We are hearing so much excitement from our girls. So many girls want to play and be involved, especially at the middle school level. We don't have that yet for them to offer, but we hear talks that they have been able to see our high school girls play flag football and it interests them, which is what we want. We want our younger girls in our district to be able to see something like that and to be interested, to be like, I'm going to do that when I get to high school. I'm going to play that sport, because they're seeing how successful it is for some of these young ladies. And we had a lot of seniors this year, and I know that we had a couple go ahead and get offers from some community colleges, which is awesome. That's what we want in our athletes. We want them to be able to get these opportunities, these scholarships, to go beyond high school and go get a college education and play a sport that they love.
Now, you're in the district office,
Yes,
right?
sir.
But you obviously hear from coaches, you're involved in those other things. There's something about walking in the halls and seeing the faces and the smiles. It's good for the soul. Do you ever just go out and do that?
Yeah, so I'm actually over elementary PE. That's one of the things that I have the opportunity to be able to oversee everything. And we have about a little over 40 elementary schools. And so I have the opportunity to go to these elementary schools and see these little kids and just see the excitement that they have in PE classes. And if that's where that excitement's going to start, how can we get that and grow it to middle school and high school? And so, yeah, getting to see these kids, especially the younger ones, smile and just be excited for something like that warms your heart, puts a smile on your face, and makes you love what you do.
Those sounds are joyous, aren't they?
Absolutely.
There's a school that's basically the backyard of our home, and if you go outside, you hear kids on the playground, and you hear the laughter and those kinds of things, and it does drive you forward. Now, it's like herding cats
It sure
sometimes,
is. It
right?
sure is. Absolutely.
But when they get in there and they start tossing it around, and you see that it's not only that, it's kind of a break from the day,
Oh,
right?
it's great. Yeah, getting to hear those little laughs is all you ever want to hear. You want to hear them excited and just having fun. That's what we want.
Now, we've talked a lot about the Fuel program here today, and I know you know what that is, and that you've been involved. How do you see it making a difference?
Gosh, coming from a female who was at that age and once, and just getting to learn what's out there and what I can do in sports drives me to be able to give these girls that opportunity. And this is an opportunity for them to hear and listen from other impactful women in athletics. And so I truly believe the bigger we get with this, and it was a huge success this year. We barely fit our auditorium that we were in, which is awesome. That's what we want. But that just shows how much growth we're already having, and this is the second year. So if we're able to keep growing that and keep having these girls spread the word of how impactful this has been for them, this is going to go so far.
That is so cool. Now, you're obviously in a leadership position. How did sports help you in this position?
Oh, it helped me so much. It taught me determination and what that looks like, and to never give up. That's the biggest thing. I played softball, and one of the things my coach taught me was don't give up. You're gonna fail. How are you gonna turn failure into success? And so knowing that and having grown up in that way, keeping that determination, that no quit attitude has helped me succeed beyond sports. Look at me now. I found a job at ORU, got that job, was successful in that job, and I knew what I wanted and where I wanted to end up, and that's to be an athletic director. And that propelled me into this position that I am now.
Absolutely. Emily Stone, District Assistant AD, thanks again for your time.
Thank you.
Coming back with more Inside Tulsa Athletics next.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against a tough competitor, plastic.
Don't trust those numbers on the bottom. You have to stick to what you know. Only bottles and jugs found in the kitchen, bath, or laundry. They're quick to pick up. And empty those bottles before sinking that shot.
Always empty your bottles before recycling. Score big by recycling your plastic bottles and jugs. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Booker T. Washington has taught me to carry myself with class as an athlete, student, and friend, and to have responsibility on and off the field, and that it's the littlest things that will make all the difference in the long run.
Being an athlete at Memorial High School has taught me to be a better person, because when you play sports, attitude is the main thing you have to deal with. Not just your own, but other people's. It also teaches you to be the bigger person.
Another great show in Inside Tulsa Athletics. We appreciate you being here with us. We also appreciate the folks from Scheels and Dick's House of Sport. We've heard today also from some of the district leaders about how Fuel is helping. The Cleats for Kids program was here as well. We're nearing the end of school, so you don't have that much time to pick a favorite sport and go out and support your athlete. We'll be back again. We'll see you soon with one more, at least, edition of Inside Tulsa Athletics. See you then.